Hi guys, welcome back to the weird side of YouTube. I'm your host, author DC Knipe, and this is The Legend of Gaming, the show where I talk about games instead of playing them. And today I'm going to remake a really old gaming video of mine, one of the first Legend of Gaming videos I ever made, called Disheartened, and it's about how disappointed I was in Kingdom Hearts 3. I know that might be a little bit of a negative topic, but I feel like I make it a little bit positive and hopeful for the future. And I understand that it might be a little bit of a unpopular opinion, but it's my opinion and I want to share it. And I want to remake the video because I thought it was a good video. I just didn't have the means to do voiceovers at the time. I also want to add my own music and lots of cool little anecdotes of how I feel about the series now. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this updated video version of Disenchanted. And let's get weird. Kingdom Hearts has always been very special to me. I don't think I would have started writing if I never played it. It takes everything I loved about Disney and everything I loved about video games and puts it all into one pretty package. So then, why is the newest installment, one universally praised, my least favorite of the series? I'm curious too, so let's find out. Now, where to begin? No, not at the original Kingdom Hearts. My journey is a bit different than most of yours. Let's go! This was my first introduction to Kingdom Hearts. Disney characters in a video game, I was shocked and awed and falling in love at first sight. So I begged and begged my dad, and he got it for me as a birthday gift. And for a while, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories was not only my favorite Kingdom Hearts game, but it was my favorite video game ever. I had no idea what happened before Sora, Donald, and Goofy arrived at Castle Oblivion. But it didn't matter. All that mattered was protecting Naminé. That, and wondering why this Riku kid was so obsessed with me. It was a truly magical experience, one that I will always cherish. One that its remake, Chain of Memories, pales in comparison to. Now, I've always been a Nintendo kid at heart. But I knew I wanted more of this story. But first, a word from our sponsors. And now back to our regularly scheduled shenanigans. So again, I begged and begged and begged my dad. But he said buying a whole new system and 2 games for it was just too expensive. And I did my best to understand. But come Christmas morning, a brand new PlayStation 2 and 2 new copies of Kingdom Hearts and Kingdom Hearts 2 were under the tree waiting for me. And I dove right in. And the first thing I noticed as a young teenager struggling to understand my sexuality was the chemistry, the fire between Riku and Sora. It was obvious to me that they were indeed best friends, but something lingered beneath that, something indescribable, something vague that I too was struggling to understand. My own childhood best friend, the one who ignited my love for Zelda, had become something more to me. We were like 2 knights fighting in a war side by side, and we loved each other, but I was in love with him, and I didn't understand how to process that. We both had girlfriends, that was never in question, but when we were alone, some dark serpent would constrict my heart. It was different with him. It was whole, complete, and I thought that he felt the same way. So when I told my girlfriend, who was an open-minded kind of hippie, that I liked boys too, I thought it'd be okay. I thought she would just be like, cool, I like girls too, or something, like it was normal. But she was shocked and appalled and sought comfort in the arms of my best friend. He left his girlfriend for her, and the 2 of them cut me out of their lives, all because I had the audacity to admit being attracted to men. Obviously, I saw myself in Sora, my ex-girlfriend in Kairi, and my lifelong best friend as Riku. And while these turbulences were shattering my very foundation as a high schooler, Kingdom Hearts was there at home waiting for me to escape into it. Being a massive Zelda fan, there was a lot for me to love. And it even sparked an interest in Final Fantasy for me. 10 and 10-2 are 2 of my favorite video games of all time, all because of Kingdom Hearts. But without a doubt, the thing that latched itself onto me the most was the story. Disney villains, an overarching plot, 3 best friends who all may or may not be in love with each other. It was crazy. It was enchanting. And it's what inspired me to start writing in the first place. Then days came along, and I quickly fell in love with Xion. At this point, I was questioning my gender identity and was rolling with a new group of friends. They called me Xion. We called my new best friend Axel, and my new boyfriend, who's struggling with balancing his sexuality and religion, Roxas. My boyfriend gave me an ultimatum, either transition to make it easier for him, or we go our separate ways. I was only 19, I had just started exploring my gender, everything was confusing to me. But I agreed. I started dressing in traditionally feminine clothes every day for him, and he left me anyway. But like Xion, I reverted back to Sora eventually. I realized that just because I like girly things doesn't mean I'm a girl. Roxas ended up going on a Mormon mission. I never saw him again. Axel was killed shortly after my own father died. That was a dark, hard year for me. But again, Kingdom Hearts was there for me to escape into, and escape I did, while creating my own worlds to play in. I like Dream Drop Distance and Birth by Sleep, but they never resonated with me like Chain and Days did. But you know what did? A Fragmentary Passage, and to this day, despite it being so short, it is my favorite Kingdom Hearts game. I was so excited because this was a taste of Kingdom Hearts 3. Or at least it was supposed to be. But the two don't seem that similar at all in hindsight. Passage is more like a fusion of Birth, Chain, and Days to me. All wrapped up in a pretty HD bow. While 3 is, well, it has its fair share of problems. Well, maybe not fair. I actually think it's the most flawed. Should I list these flaws? I think I should list these flaws. Just like Zelda Breath of the Wild, the worlds are way too big, way too long, and way too empty. The Frozen world is a travesty. I feel for anyone playing this game that hasn't seen the movie. They'll be lost. The storyline at this point is convoluted, overblown, and bloated. I understand awakening Ventus. I understand saving Aqua. But undoing Shion's sacrifice reduces it to nothing. They ruined that storyline. In my opinion, adding Pixar in Big Hero 6 ruins the fairy tale theme, and both of those worlds were terrible. Not only are the worlds god-awful, there aren't nearly enough. At this point, Sora is like 17. He shouldn't talk like a 12-year-old anymore. He's been through so much, but he's still the happy-go-lucky, plucky twink he always has been. Most of his dialogue was cringe as hell. When I started playing Kingdom Hearts, I was 15. I'm 31 now. Not all Disney fans are kids, Square. I'm not saying give Axel a Glock and make Sora and Riku make out on screen. But we can handle more darker storylines, and I don't mean that played out metaphor of darkness versus light. I don't ship Kairi and Sora unless they're in a queer triad with Riku, but if you're gonna keep teasing a romance, Square, grow up here and dive in already. And now Sora sacrificed himself, and it's supposed to be this big epic thing. But it wasn't. It was just kinda lame. I waited years and years for this game, a literal decade. There are some things I like about the base game, like the final world, even though it was kind of sandwiched in between some incredibly contrived plot devices. It gave me the same emotions I had when I first experienced the dive into the heart scenario from Kingdom Hearts 1. Epic, mysterious, mystical, magical. A far cry from the boring world of the final battle, which was from a mobile game of all things. Port Royal, the Pirates of the Caribbean world, is always a standout. It's gorgeous here, and sailing the pirate ship is so much fun. I also really love that they made Ariel a summon. She's my favorite Disney character, and the reason why I love Disney so much in the first place. And at the end of Atlantica in Kingdom Hearts 1, she talks about how she wants to explore other worlds. This feels like a beautiful and happy ending for her character, because now, through the magic of Sora's friendship, she can. Needless to say, she was my most used summon. I used her more than attractions too, which I enjoyed the aesthetic of, but did not like how they overstayed their welcome and popped up way too often. I also really loved this. I had no idea what the fuck it was at the time, being someone who never played the mobile games, but once I read about it, I realized just how truly epic it is. I mean, I played Birth by Sleep, so I knew that the Keyblade War was a thing, but I had no idea that Square had taken the time to put every username of every player in the mobile games in this. That's fucking rad. Look at that. These people have their names inside a game from one of their favorite series. That has to be a great feeling. Square did good with this. Unfortunately, this fan service does little to erase the many flaws of the game. And so does the DLC. Because people were so disappointed by how quickly and easily they wrapped things up, they quickly whipped up some DLC to try and remedy it. But hiding fan-favorite characters, beloved game modes, and epic cutscenes that take place within parts of a short, kinda boring game that you've already played through behind a secondary paywall is kinda fucked. As cool as this stuff is, it doesn't make up for the fact that it should have been in the base game in the first place. And don't get me started on the weird Yozora Final Fantasy Versus 13 shit. Just because your project failed doesn't mean you should throw it into your successful one. Even with the DLC, it doesn't feel like a complete game. I guess I'll always have my chain of memories. And I love you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.